In Willingham's book, Why Don't Students Like School?, he states that the national watchword in education is accountability, which has translated into state tests. Standardized tests have frustrated teachers lately since they are held accountable for students' achievement. As Willingham points out, standardized tests offer little opportunity for students to analyze, synthesize, or critique, and instead demand the regurgitation of isolated facts. Teachers often spend too much time teaching to the test, when in reality, teaching students to think critically and use problem-solving skills will prepare them to take these standardized tests and to be successful in the real world. Knowing facts is necessary, but not sufficient for critical thinking. Prior knowledge and new factual knowledge stored in long-term or working memory allows students to learn in new contexts. Using all this knowledge allows students to think critically, analyze, and apply new information. So, how does this apply to us? As teachers, we need to find out what prior knowledge our students have, including misconceptions, to adequately teach and use new information. It is important to be sure that students have the background knowledge required before beginning any critical thinking activity. Just ask yourself, what do my students really need to know in order to be successful with this activity? Chunking is the phenomenon of tying together separate pieces of information from a learner's environment. In his book, Willingham states, background knowledge allows chunking, which makes more room in working memory, which makes it easier to relate ideas and therefore to comprehend. Learners remember new information when it is linked to prior knowledge and factual knowledge pulled from long-term memory. When teaching new material, teachers have to chunk new concepts to prior knowledge that most students have or should have. We can chunk more or less information depending on how much background knowledge the student can link to. In addition, knowledge must be meaningful. Memorizing facts is hard to link to prior knowledge. However, if we can teach facts with real-world applications, students can chunk that with the prior knowledge they already have and therefore remember the fact more easily. The amount of new information a person can handle at once depends on how much prior knowledge the person has about the content. If student A has limited prior knowledge to pull into the working memory, that student can only extend his or her critical thinking bubble so far. If student B, however, has a larger base of prior knowledge, he or she is able to extend the critical thinking bubble much further and faster than student A. As teachers, we need to constantly monitor and check the prior knowledge our students have to know which students need extra assistance to rise to the appropriate level of critical thinking ability and which are ready to be pushed further. If we have students with limited prior knowledge, we will be unable to give them critical thinking tasks that involve that prior knowledge.